All right, thank you all for coming and prepare to be taken out of the matrix. All right, you will understand soon enough. All right, as I discussed, we're going to do a metaphysical spiritual breakdown of technological history. You're not being told computer fundamentals, certifications versus college degrees, work environments, computer repair income, how to get paid, question and answer, and what to expect in phase 2 for those who want to attend. Who is phase 1 for? For a matter of fact, who is this course for? One who wants to learn how to repair, diagnose their own computer. One who wants to start a computer repair business, store or otherwise. One who wants to get into IT, which is information technology. And one who wants to know some of the ins and outs so they can more easily maneuver through and beyond this technological age. About myself, for those who do not know me, I started working on computers at a time when the average person did not know what a computer or email was. Was recruited straight out of high school to work at a prominent downtown company as a network administrator with no certifications, no degrees, and making $50,000 a year. And that's right out of high school at 18. Next, and final employment as an employee was at another downtown company as a system administrator, still with no certifications, and picked me over those with certifications, master's degrees, and actually some doctorates in computer science. I am A+, Network Plus, Linux Plus certified. And recently I got the MSCITP, that's the Microsoft Certified Information Technology Professional. Currently, I do consulting work with many of the largest companies in Chicago and still maintain many mom and pop stores, real estate offices, and car lots on the south side and south suburbs. I create thinking networks, which pretty much, in short, when I do government contract, a lot of times they contract me to create computers that can outthink any of us combined for a specific task. So you hear about that on sci-fi shows, on TV shows, where I actually do it all the time. Okay, I've been doing it for years. All right. And of course, I do private and public training sessions on technology, progression of technology, where technology is headed, and predictions on social technological dynamics that the masses keep running to. Like the Borg in Star Trek, which is become one with technology, which is like Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, etc. I'm a full-time priest, scientist, herbalist, and I'm an inventor. So my inventors are actually out there right now. I've healed people with asthma, cancer, and diabetes, and I move clouds with a cloud buster. I'll get into that in a second. That's me. So these people, when I say all these things, people don't believe it. Okay? And I'm saying this for the reason why I did that. I don't like to talk about myself at all. That's why I kind of go past it as quick as possible. But people kept telling me I need to tell people some of the things that I actually do so they can see the possibilities that we all have internally. That's me. This is my laboratory I have in my house. Okay? I funded it myself. Everything I do, even these training events, for the most part, is all 100% paid out of my pocket. Okay? So, and there's other stuff in there that I won't show, but it's a full laboratory. He has a cloud buster. It moves clouds. It's a way to do it, but it moves clouds in the sky. We get to see that in action.
Are those crystals?
Yes, it's those are actually organized. There's actually crystals in there, but in the bucket itself, it's crystals. It's aluminum. It's aluminum, copper. So there's a bunch of different things in that allow the energy to go through the copper pipes you see there. And you direct it, and you could move clouds, you cause rain with that and everything else. Now, of course, that sounds sci-fi, obviously, but I do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? I do it all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Physics.
Oh yeah, it is. But you'd be surprised how many physics and internal scientific things that go on within you. Because I didn't go to school for physics. I didn't go to school for like even the computer thing. That you come here today to learn from me about. I didn't go to school for this. You know what I'm saying? What I did was I just gravitated towards something that called me, went to the store, picked up some books, and I learned it. Now, just so you know, in high school, when most people playing around crazy, I was working 3 jobs in high school. Okay, not because I had to, but because my people wouldn't give me necessarily the funds I wanted for my car or whatever else, but also for the books I wanted to buy. Okay, and so I didn't take a picture of my library, but if you really see my library, you'll see what I'm saying. So, okay, now we get into the history of technology. the explanation of the nature matu, which is the nature of the material. Okay, what is technology? Technology is the making, usage, and knowledge of tools, machines, techniques, crafts, systems, or methods of organization in order to solve a problem or perform a specific function. It can also refer to a collection of such tools, machinery, and procedures. Now, the thing about this is that, see, I like this is from Wikipedia. I like to give this example first. It's because that sounds complex. Most people here in this audience, well, everyone in this audience is considered, let's call it Aboriginal, okay, considered indigenous, okay. Everyone here is black, Hispanic, etc. So you all are the natural people of the earth. Now, the natural people of the earth typically have done things very simply, okay. In this new age, you do things very complex. Now, in this thing here, I'm about to show you, some of the Europeans charge $2,000-3,000 for similar information as far as just how to get certifications, etc. And it's very, very complex, extremely complex. And in the end, you'll see how simple this is. So that's Wikipedia's example of what technology is. Or another example is technology is either used to increase or compensate for a known, unknown, or lost function. Meaning, a known is a better way to catch a mousetrap. Sorry, a better way to catch mice without chasing them. So you create a mousetrap for a known function. A unknown is you creating a spaceship to go back to your ancestral world in a Sirius star system that you can't see on a clear night. This was an unknown, so you created technology to facilitate that need. A lost function is once your people here on this earth had the ability to speak without words, only using the mind. That's called telepathic behavior. But now instead, because most of you have lost that function, you use a cell phone. Okay? Many people here, ancestors used to actually move objects or even yourself with just a thought. That's called telekinesis. But now you have to use trains, planes, and automobiles. Okay? Was and some still can tap into the ancestral earth realm of knowledge around the earth. It's called the Akashic Records. Some can still do it through meditation. But now you use the internet and the library to gain the knowledge that you need. Some see distant places that you have never been to, or sometimes can revisit places you have never been to in real time. That's also called now remote viewing, but now you use Google Earth. The reason why I like to get into that, people, they come in here technology. It's a technology lecture. And I'm talking about stuff like this. They're like, what the heck is going on? You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is that I'm trying to get to the point of telling you that you are technology. That is the whole point, okay? Looking at something externally from you, you're always going to be chasing, okay? Instead of realizing that you are that, there's no need to chase. Okay, and once you truly realize that within yourself, I mean, you'll be able to do anything simply. You know, that's the reason how I'm able to do so much. People are like, man, how do you do all of this? You know what I'm saying? Because I just know who I am. I mean, it's literally as simple as that. That's that term comes, know who you are. All right. Dark matter, melanated God particle people on Mars. The ancestral people of this world, aka black, ethnic, Hispanic people, have been in and out of technology for so many eons it couldn't be measured in time. This is a NASA image of the face on Mars taken by the Viking orbiter in the mid-1970s. Elijah Muhammad of the Nation of Islam spoke about black people on Mars as NASA sent a probe to see them for themselves. He was detailed and precise on what NASA would and would not find. That's from the Theology of Time, 1972. Elijah Muhammad mentioned, they are intelligent people, they show signs of civilization, they're something similar to us, not exactly, but they look similar. They walk on 2 feet and they are not white. And NASA had to go see that for themselves. And he mentioned that without even using a telescope. Now, what about the moon? This is a ship found on the moon by NASA during the Apollo 18 mission. This is a mission that's supposedly not happening. The ship was stated to be approximately 1.5 million years old. Of course, most people haven't heard about that. You know, there's a ship, right now they got a base on the moon. Now, Elijah Muhammad said the moon was made by a black man who drilled a tube into the Earth's surface. When he reached the center, he filled it with dynamite, He set it off. The explosion blasted away a piece of the thin Earth, which, according to the moon's diameter, is approximately 1/3 the size of the Earth. After the moon was blasted away from the Earth to the distance of approximately 12,000 miles, the moon turned over. He emptied the water back onto the Earth. That's from the flag of Islam. Now, the thing about it is, I mentioned that because it's absolutely crazy. Okay, whoever were to hear anything like that sounds absolutely insane. All right, but NASA had, it was a television cast in 2008, January 30th, where the NASA scientists were interviewed. Okay, and from Gene Cernan said, "I wish you could see some of this stuff on the lunar surface. It's amazing stuff. It feels like snow, yet strangely abrasive. It tastes not half bad, according to another Apollo 16 astronaut, John Young, and he says it smells like gunpowder." Okay, so Elijah Muhammad said that the moon was blown up from the Earth. Okay, of course that's using some form of gunpowder, obviously. Okay, and the scientist says it smells like gunpowder up there. This astronaut. Okay, so I just wanted to go on this random. All right, now moving along. Okay, as a rule of thumb, for many ancient melanated ethnic races, it was known for them to put ideas, circumstances, and problem solution technological advances in stone, using techniques that modern science still cannot understand nor figure out. Why? Because one day their children may need help, guidance, or direction. This is ancient writing from the wall of temples and pyramids around Africa. What you are seeing is the formulas and strategies to help you on your journey through this material nature, aka the Metaphysic, better known as the false name hieroglyphics. Now, of course, the reason why I mentioned that is that, okay, people, of course, come to the idea that people thousands of years ago didn't have what we have today and then some. Obviously, on the left there, let's see here. Okay, obviously right here you see light bulbs, all right, and obviously this is the light bulb that was made in the early 30s, 20s. Okay, but obviously same thing. Obviously this here is helicopters. Those are cars. Just so you know, those are spaceships and so on and so forth. And it looks just like the helicopter today. All right. So I asked the question: did the modern day Thomas Edison really invent the light bulb, or did he get the divine knowledge off the walls of Africa on one of his journeys there? Because there's documented evidence that he went there dozens upon dozens of times, and all of a sudden he came up with the light bulb. All right. Can't help but notice the remarkable resemblance to what the black races had in Africa. Now, this type of stuff here is all over the world. Okay, we can get into that momentarily. Oh yeah, I believe I forgot to mention that Africans and other people around the world knew how to transmutate any metal into gold. That's actually factual. Okay, literally. They call that alchemy, of course, so on and so forth. Why dig in the earth unless you have yet to figure out the secrets of our grandparents? Now, of course, some people hear these things from me, and even though I put certain evidence up on the screen, some people still don't see it. Okay, I still do not realize their full potential. So here's what others say about you.
blueprints of the Maya on war, overpopulation, and drought. But might the Maya have left behind clues to suggest that their origin and destiny had been plotted by otherworldly forces? 1952. Archaeologist Alberto Ruiz discovers the pyramid tomb of King Pakal, who ruled over the ancient Mayan city of Palenque from 615 to 683. During his nearly 70-year reign, Pakal transformed Palenque, creating some of the most significant inscriptions and monuments of the ancient Maya civilization.
The city of Palenque was sacked by the ruler of Calakmul. So this was really tragic for the city itself. And it sets the stage for Hanapakal himself, who becomes king at a very early age, and then takes this city that's been destroyed and now brings it up to what becomes one of the most important cities of the late classic period.
This is the famous Temple of the Inscriptions behind me. Perhaps the most famous pyramid in all of the Mayan world. It was in 1948 that the French-Mexican archaeologist Alberto Ruiz began his excavations at the top of the Temple of Inscriptions. What he found there was the famous staircase leading down into the depths of the pyramid. But the staircase was completely filled in with rubble of small stones and dirt. It took him 4 years to slowly excavate step by step down the pyramid until he finally came to the tomb of Lord Pakal and the giant sarcophagus and lid that the pyramid were built around.
Arguably, the most remarkable Mayan artifact ever found, the stone sarcophagus lid of King Pakal, has produced considerable controversy. Mainstream scholars believe the depiction is of King Pakal on a journey to the underworld. But ancient astronaut theorists believe the king is portrayed seated at the controls of a spacecraft and have dubbed him the Palenque astronaut.
He appears to be going into space. He's the original rocket man. They're manipulating his spacecraft going into space.
We have maintained for a very long time that the depiction here is of King Pakal sitting in some type of a spacecraft, because he is at an angle like modern day astronauts upon liftoff. He's manipulating some controls right here. He has some type of a breathing apparatus or some type of a telescope in front of his face. His feet are on some type of a pedal. And down here, you have something that looks like an exhaust with flames.
In 2011, the strange carving on King Pakal's sarcophagus lid was translated into a 3D replica by model maker Paul Francis.
When I saw this, I instantly said, there's a guy in a space capsule. You know, it doesn't need to be spelled out for me. I don't have to find anything. It was already there. It was carved many, many years ago.
I think this is absolutely extraordinary, because this is definitely one of the most compelling pieces in the ancient astronaut theory. And to finally see Pakal as a 3D sculpture, to me, is a dream come true. For the longest time, we have said that what is on this Pakal lid is not something symbolic. It was something that the artist saw or was told about, and then he or she tried to recreate this on a slab. I love the craftsmanship. I love how you know, at the bottom of the Palenque slab, you see something like The
It
flames.
looks like fire. And
Exactly.
I had to do a little interpretive. I put engine bells on instead of the flame, but that's the thruster stage.
I also love the detail that you have underneath his right foot, where his foot is resting on a pedestal. And that is exactly what we can see on the Palenque slab, and how his hands are manipulating some controls. And also this kind of breathing apparatus that's going on in front of his nose.
The breathing apparatus is actually a very neat piece. It's called the giver of life. The soul transfers through this. And a giver of life to me would be air. I mean, we breathe air. This is a guy who needs this mass to survive.
Because, where is he?
Outer space.
Could the carving on the sarcophagus lid of King Pakal really provide confirmation of the complicity between Maya rulers and extraterrestrial forces, as ancient astronaut theorists believe? Perhaps further evidence can be found, etched in stone throughout Mesoamerica. The Palace of Palenque. Discovered in the late 18th century by Spanish explorers, this royal compound is the largest and most complex of those found in the ancient city. Researchers believe a 4-story tower in the middle of the palace was built so Mayan kings and priests could observe the celestial movement of the sun and stars.
This is the main palace here at Palenque, and one of the unusual features is this observatory, huge tower to watch the stars. Also throughout the palace are these unusual T-shaped windows, and they've baffled archaeologists for centuries. It's thought that perhaps they represent the wind god. But it's also possible that these T-shaped windows are pointing to the sky. What was it that the rulers of Palenque were looking for?
The tower at the Palace of Palenque is just one of many celestial observatories built throughout the ancient Maya territories.
Their practical system of astronomy was an observational one. So the design and the construction of a lot of buildings was intended to create these sight lines, to create these vantages for observation, to see and mark important astronomical events.
We see that temples were aligned to specific moments in time, and the equinoxes and the solstices are the most important moments in time. So wherever we look, we see how this knowledge of astronomy is incorporated into these monuments.
Plazas were great places where people stood and paid reverence to particular times of the year. These were places that were aligned from time immemorial, hundreds and hundreds of years, to make these specific observations.
But what, or perhaps who, were the Maya looking for in the sky? According to ancient astronaut theorists, the answer can be found carved in stone.
In Quirigua, Guatemala, there is a national park featuring zoomorphs. Zoomorphs are these giant boulders that were carved into different shapes. Some of them depict crocodiles, some of them depict turtles. But at the same time, the carvings are very reminiscent of something technological in nature. In fact, there is one boulder that we can see where this guy is essentially sitting inside some type of cockpit. Is it possible that this is nothing else but an artist's rendering of something that they didn't understand because their technological frame of reference was less advanced than our technological frame of reference we have today?
In the present-day Mexican state of Tabasco, near the Gulf of Mexico, lie the ruins of a ceremonial center called La Venta. Here, in 1862, oil riggers discovered 4 very large stone heads in the Olmec area of Mesoamerica. Since then, archaeologists have unearthed 13 more similar sculptures that were carved as early as 850 BC. Known as the colossal heads, scholars believe they depict the Olmecs, an ancient civilization that many consider to be the ancestors of the Maya.
One of the most striking aspects of Olmec art and archaeology are these colossal head sculptures. And one of the hypotheses that's been put out to explain these is that they were portraits of important rulers, kings, shamans, important people in their society.
But ancient astronaut theorists contend the mysterious stone statues are proof of extraterrestrial intervention in the distant past.
Man hatte im Olmekengebiet riesige
Huge stone heads were found in the Olmec area, which were beautifully made, but then ritually buried. One asks, what is that? Are these heads of rulers or priests? Or were they maybe aliens that they wanted to portray because they had unusual facial features?
These guys are often wearing strange helmets, and they look to be foreigners. They appear to be from Africa and the Middle East and other areas like that. So what are they doing here in Central America? There you have this curious mix of different racial groups. Are they coming with the sky gods? Perhaps they too are the alien ETs.
There is one statue that we can find that clearly shows an Olmec wearing some type of a flight suit. To me, this depicts nothing else but someone from Africa having visited Central America in a type of a flight suit and with some type of craft. You've got the legs here, like in a modern-day astronaut suit, and there's also some type of a life support pack that's on his chest. There are 6 wings, and the head is clearly enclosed by a skull cap similar to modern-day astronauts. So what we have here, in my opinion, is nothing else but depictions of physical extraterrestrial encounters hundreds, and yes, even thousands of years ago.
There is considerable evidence linking the Mayans and the Olmecs to extraterrestrial beings. You have at La Venta, many of the Olmecs wearing curious masks. Also at Tikal, they're wearing what look like space masks with respirators. You've got also flying beings who are hovering above certain objects and things like that in the Mayan world. These are the birdmen, the people who can fly.
But do the stone sculptures really provide proof that the Maya had early...
All right. But many of you all missed that episode. Yeah, so obviously that's some historical evidence of really the abilities that you have innately. And this one here is going to trip most of you all out. Because I know we have probably some basketball fans in here, so quick one.
The main river, all the Mayan cities had ball courts in them where they played this celestial game where the players would knock a rubber ball through a stone or wooden hoop. It's thought that this is a representation of alignments.
Okay, that one cut off. But I'm going to give you a quick synopsis of what he said. Pretty much short. Many of the games that people play around the world right now were actually created from looking at universal principles, okay, or spiritual principles, or revelations from their creator, okay. They created games to represent that act, okay. So in general, when he got to was saying that when you see people on the court playing basketball, especially at the higher levels in the NBA, you're really seeing galaxies being created, universes being created, etc., through the movements and stuff like that they do to put the ball inside of the hoop. And you know, just say here, when I looked it up, this particular instance right here of the court is about 70, 80,000 years old. So it's an old game. So when you play basketball later on, remember that you're actually creating galaxies, universes, and suns.
Right.
Seriously. I didn't say it, he said it. You know? All right.
Read something where the loser though, the losing team lost their lives.
No doubt. In some cases. In some cases. All right. Okay, they say your hair is nappy or too curly, etc. There's actually a divine technology inherited. Okay, and that's based off scientific fact also. All right. Of course, if you see the spiral of the galaxy, okay, it's the exact same spiral in the hair of most indigenous people all around the earth. Okay, all ethnic people. All right. Okay, the goal is to melanated ethnics are known to simplify anything, no matter how complex it may seem to be. That is why the modern day school system created by a Nazi in the 1800s is utilized to take your mind from the right way of thinking to the wrong way of thinking. That's why the tassel goes from right to left. It goes from the right way of thinking, as you graduate through the levels, to the left way of thinking, which is actually the left-hand path, as you heard, or the way to the dark side, and so on and so forth. Okay? If the goal is to get to the number 2, ethnic people or indigenous people of this earth, you know, as all of us in this room, would say 1 + 1 is 2, or even just 2. Okay, it's as simple as that. But the way that the school system has trained your mind to be in the wrong way of thinking is to be more complex. Okay, so in general, what you would do is the goal is to get to the number 2. You would go 1 + 1,000 is 1,001. 1,001 + 4 is 1,005. 1,005 - 5 is 1,000. 1,000 times 2 is 2,000. 2,000 + 10,000 is 12,000. 12,000 minus 11,000 is 1,000. 1,000 minus 999 is 1, and 1 + 1 is 2. That's in general how this society works. Okay, pretty much everything, even nuclear physics, is extremely simple. It's extremely simple. So you're learning something that's simple, but in a complex way, from entities or people that are not necessarily from this reality. All right, and that's the way they have to understand. And that's actually based in fact too. And all of the statues around the world I should try to tell you. All right. Now, as long as you don't do things like this, there is still some hope. Okay, now we get into more of the understanding of some computer fundamentals now. Okay, what are frequencies? Now, I said, of course, on Wikipedia, frequency is the number of occurrences, repeating event per time. Okay, it's referred to as temporal frequency, the period duration of the cycle, etc., etc., etc. Obviously, that's extremely complex, and hearing that, most people do not know what the heck is there. So, to put more simply, you are not solid, but you are perceived as solid by the matter metal, which is the nature of the material. So you're perceived as solid. But even scientists all around the world, on both sides of the fence, say that you're actually atoms and they're constantly moving. Okay, this movement is called a vibration. The vibration is called a frequency. Okay, because of this fact, you or someone else can manipulate your atomic structure. Your atomic structure can and will be changed on a daily basis by what you breathe, eat, and think. There's actually a device. Some of you all who were here for phase 1 actually before seen the device, but I have actually someone using the device right now. And this device that I have you can turn it to different frequencies and you can touch it and it changes things within you. Okay, this device that I have, is people in this room actually witnessed it when it came to face 1 or 2 months ago. Okay, now we're moving forward to the 20th and 21st century. And this is Dr. Mark Dean. He holds the first 3 patents out of 9 for the personal computer that's being used today. Okay? So back when the personal computer was, well, computers in general were first thought of in there was no personal computer actually at that time. But they were first thought of, he created the first 3 patents for it. Without his first 3 patents, the rest would not happen. Okay? So he's a computer engineer. And still, even today, against all odds, still create technology today in which if we were not present, our current lifestyle also would not be. What runs the infrastructure of the world? Cray, aka mainframe, aka supercomputers, thinking machines. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, I do create thinking machines a few times a year, not like this. These are humongous. These are in national laboratories, national universities. One of some of the biggest universities like Harvard, Yale, and so forth. You need even sometimes special clearance to even get there. All right. But these also, see, they tell you, if you were to research it, that these are for calculating the weather. Okay, that's actually false. They use these things to predict your actions. Okay, to predict that what you're going to do in the future. That's what they use the machines for. All right, this is Dr. Oibai. Professor Gabriel Oibai obtained his PhD in aeronautics and mathematics from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. All right, now because of his insight, Star Trek super drives, tractor beams, also you've seen in sci-fi, is now starting to be developed because of him. Now we go to Bill Gates. Okay, of course, he is the founder and operator of Microsoft. Bill Gates, in general, is not a hardware repair and inventor of hardware-based technologies. He is a software programmer, and as such, makes his monies and founded his empire on licensing said software. So, off of one creation, you will pay for life per day, per month, or year to continue to utilize this product without restraint. Did I mention he's a top eugenicist and using most of his fortune to fund eugenic research? And just so you all know, eugenic research is the extermination of us, pretty much. That's eugenic research. That's what he uses most of his money for. So when you buy a Microsoft product, you're actually supporting your own demise, just so you know. All right. Bill Gates was born in 1955, Seattle, Washington, of course, and he is the head of Microsoft. And obviously, he's been in a lot of lawsuits because he tends to crush the competition by illegal means a lot of times. So he's in court a lot, always trying to swindle his way out of things. Now, of course, Steve Jobs, which is Apple, the head of Apple, which is Mac. Okay, and obviously Steve Jobs is not here anymore. Okay, now if you notice, the Apple uses the sign here. Okay, they use that for a reason. All right, and most people have no idea. Obviously, I'm using an apple here. All right, it's a sign in the back of it. It's a reason why, because this forbidden knowledge that you don't have privilege to know. Okay, that's the reason why it's right there in front of your face. But most people rather watch basketball. So that's a little bit his bio. That's from Wikipedia, of course, also. So now we're picking up speed a bit. Now we get to exactly what is a computer. A computer is a programmable machine designed to automatically carry out a sequence of operations. The particular sequence of operations can be changed readily, allowing the computer to solve more than one kind of problem. An important class of computer operations on some computing platforms is the accepting of input from human operators and the output of results formatted for human consumption. Now, the whole reason why I'm doing this course also is there's a lot of jobs here, especially the brother I spoke to a few days ago. His job was called eliminated because of computer processing. Okay, that's happening all over the place. A lot of times you see it more in factories. Okay, that's when you can see a lot more of the automation. All right. And this is going to happen all over the place. All right. So it's best now, even if you do not get into technology yourself, it's best if you know some young people who are getting out and getting into this technology now, because otherwise they will be left behind. Okay, what are the major components of a computer? The processor, the CPU, is the central processing unit. This is like Pentium 1, 2, and 3, Pentium 5, Core 2 Dual, Core i5, those type of terminology you hear out there now. RAM is random access memory, which is your memory. Hard drive is your storage. The monitor is your LCD LED screen. The ROM is your read-only memory, which is your CD-ROM drive or DVD partner, etc. The motherboard is also the main board. Cooling fans, power supply, computer case, and operating systems, which are Windows, Mac, Linux, etc. The processor, the AKA central processing unit, is the brain. This is the portion of the computer system that carries out the instructions of a computer program to perform the basic logical and input-output operations of the system. The thinking portion of the brain, thinking only in zeros and ones, nothing more or less. Okay, because computer only thinks in zeros and ones. Okay, this is RAM, which is random access memory. It's a form of computer data storage. Today it takes the form of integrated circuits that allow stored data to be accessed in any order without worst case performance of constant time. Pretty much the more RAM you have, the faster your computer moves. Okay, so the breakdown. The processor is how fast the conveyor belt is going. The RAM is how much you can fit on the conveyor belt as it's going. So the more RAM you have, the wider the conveyor belt is. The processor is how fast it moves, and it will only move so fast based on the type of processor you have. The hard drive. The hard drive, also hard disk drive, etc., is a device for storing and retrieving digital information, primarily computer data. It consists of one or more rigid, rapidly rotating disks. Of course, the computer monitor or display. Most of y'all know what the computer monitor is, obviously. ROM is read-only memory. Of course, that's your disk drive, your DVD burner, CD player, etc. Data stored on your ROM cannot be modified, only retrieved or directly written to, of course, it's a burner. Of course, we have the motherboard, and of course, everything in your computer hooks somewhere onto this board. All right. And this is inside all of y'all's computers, obviously. Every computer, pretty much every electronic device has something with a motherboard, whether big or small. Cooling fan. So cooling fan obviously is the cooling inside a computer. Most computers have, especially desktops, have tons of them. Keep everything cool if it gets extremely hot inside. Power supply obviously is used to power the computer. And obviously the computer case houses everything you've seen. Like in this one here, that's the motherboard you kind of see on the side of there. So everything you've seen in the last few slides goes inside your computer case, obviously. Now, the operating systems, or the OS, is a set of programs that manage computer hardware, resources, and provide common services for application software. Of course, this is Windows, this is the Mac OS, and Linux. Now, Windows, most use operating systems for consumer, desktop, laptop users. Also, most software is made for Windows because of the above reason. Also, because of the above reason, viruses are prevalent in Windows environments. The cost of Windows with so many licensing options can be very expensive over time. Mac OS X, which is from Apple, holds the next biggest slice of the operating system market, which is actually small. Doesn't get viruses, but not because it can't, only because most people use Windows, so it's not as profitable to make viruses for Macs. It's very expensive upfront cost, but you get a machine that's been tailored from the software to the hardware. Not a lot of apps out there for Apple, especially if you're used to the multitude of Windows apps, but this is changing. Linux, more closely to the look and feel of Windows and Mac OS X, is totally 100% free. You will not get viruses because, again, even less of the market uses Linux, which is a derivative of Unix. Most apps on Linux are free, and you are able to run word processors, send emails, etc. And we will be installing and covering Linux in phase 2. Now, this is the breakdown spiritually of what you're seeing used as a computer. The processor, okay, the CPU is how fast you think. Okay, the RAM, which is the memory, is how fast you can recall your thoughts. The hard drive, which is to store digital information, is how much is stored in your brain. The monitor is your eyes. The ROM, the CD-ROM drive, is your mouth. The motherboard is your central nervous system. The cooling fan is your sweat. The power supply is your heart. The computer case is your body. And the operating system, Windows, Mac OS X, Linux, is your spirit. And that's literally why they created it and literally the purpose of it. So eventually, in time, it will become more functional to the point where you see droids walking around like iron robots, stuff like that. Okay. Now, certifications versus college degrees. Certifications. Certifications can be directly into the workforce without a known distinctive set of knowledge. With a known distinctive set of knowledge. Certifications cost little with a great return. Certifications can be taken without any previous training and or experience. Some certifications pay 2 to 3 times more than a doctorate college degree in many fields pay. The technology field is one field of a few that in many cases a college degree is considered a waste unless you're going into specific higher learning curriculums such as computer engineering, software engineering, etc. Computer engineers, if you get a doctorate in computer engineering, you could be up in the $500,000 a year range. Okay. Now, of course, a lot of people in general go for being football players, and their body, ravaged into the time they live a very poor life. They go into these fields and things that is actually ridiculous when you actually think about it. Because you can get one little piece of paper and you can make $100,000 a year. I mean, as simple as that. And some software engineers, those are people who actually program operating systems like Windows or Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or even the calculator on your computer. Okay, these people sometimes make up to $10, $20 million a year. And these people, especially in these times, these people are like 18, 19 years old. They're all over the place. All right. A lot of times they come from other countries. Okay. A lot of times when I'm in the government rooms and stuff like that, and the programmers come in to do their part, most of the time they're Chinese, they're or the Indian. Okay. Most of the time they're not us at all. Whether it be Hispanic, whether it be black, or whatever it's called. Okay. Your pay grade is uncapped, especially if you're as a consultant or a business versus as an employee. Certifications can and will require a lot of studying on your own to acquire. You can take training courses directly designed for a specific certification and take the test directly after passing the course, for, of course, a lot more money. Picking a certification to study can be a little tricky sometimes because some are more of a fad and are less likely that anyone needs that type of help unless you want to move to the Amazon. All right, just so you know, did anyone not receive the papers today? Okay. Now, what I did with this course, I tried to make this extremely easy for you. And I try to give you all the information that you need from someone who actually been doing this for a long time. All right? It's not difficult at all, but still some people seem to not be able to figure out whether it be just because of choice or whatever it may be. So the thing about it is in your documents here today, I've included the third document. It's actually the CompTIA website. Now, CompTIA, there are hundreds upon hundreds, maybe even thousands of certifications out there. And some of them are, even if they're not really heard of as much, they still keep excellent worth of money. But I only pretty much today I focus on the main ones that get you into the field or get you making money literally in a few months if that's your choice. Now, CompTIA is one of the main ones. CompTIA, if you ever heard of A+ certification or Network Plus, etc., CompTIA is the main people that do the Plus certifications, okay? They're very reasonable in cost. And this website here, if you go to it, will give you more information about the certifications they offer and how much, well, not really how much they are though, but the certifications they offer and what it will provide. Now, the next one, which is page 4, you'll see the South Suburban Business College. This is where I took all of my certification tests at. They're not associated with South Suburban College at all. They're this career center where you can take healthcare certifications, computer certifications, business-based certifications, all the certifications you can take at this place. Okay. Typically, you just go in there, or call it at a time. You schedule time for certification. You walk in, pay the money. They sit you down on the computer. You pass the test. The certification comes in the mail, and then there you go. It's really as simple as that. They used to be in South Holland, behind South Suburban College, but now they're in Oak Forest. And the address and everything else is on there, even their phone. Now, the fifth sheet here is New Horizons. Now, for those individuals who are not really as good at studying on their own, or just want the teacher interface, okay? One of the best local training facilities is New Horizons. They have one downtown in Rosemont. Okay, I've never been in person, but I know many people who have them. Okay, and they have many of the certifications that are available. They train you here to do it, and then from that point, you take the test usually after the training is over. Sometimes the training session can be like 2 weeks to a month, maybe 2 months, and afterwards you take the certification test. And it can get kind of expensive. You know, it goes to the $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 range. But versus still what you would pay for a college degree, you can still get into the field within 2 months, 3 months, and you got all the knowledge. The last page I'm going to get into a little bit. So, let's see here. Okay, I'm going to show you a cost versus expense analysis. Okay, now when I first got into the field, of course, it's about more experience. Okay, there are people, like as I mentioned, who had doctorate degrees and master's degrees in computer science, and they picked me, a guy who had a high school diploma, who just got out of high school literally a week ago, over them. All right, but now they are starting to require a little bit more out the door at times. And so let's take the A+. The A+ is the most basic one you can get at first. Okay, it deals with you're proficient in hardware repair and you're proficient in software diagnostics. Okay, so most of the problems that everyone in this room will take the computer to a computer place for to get fixed, that's what A+ covers. Okay, literally 99.9% of it. All right. Now these are high estimates of how much it will cost, etc. So the books for the A+, all right, you can get on Amazon, you can get your local, even at your local library may have some, any bookstore. All right, it's around $60 you'll pay for a good A+ certification-based book. All right, and the test itself on the high end will cost about $250. Okay, so that's a total of $310. But if you pass that A+ certification, you're making around minimum $30,000 a year. So it's $310 and you make $30,000 a year. That's a good investment. All right. Now let's say you get the A+ and the Network Plus. Network Plus means you're proficient in network administration tasks. Okay. If any of you all work for banks or any medium to large size company, pretty much a lot of the things you see, well, you don't see that, you go behind the scenes. The network administrator taking care of all of that. Okay. Now the books for the network administration and A+ total only cost you about $90. Okay. The certification test for both of those combined about $400. So a total of approximately $490. The salary you have made at that time, if you have both of those, between $37,000 and $45,000 for a $490 investment. Okay. Now, there's many other certifications, but the top dog certification, for the most part, is the Cisco certifications. Okay. The basic CCNA, which is the Cisco Certified Network Administrator. Okay. The books for this certification test will probably cost around $100. The test may cost between $400 and $800. So let's say a total of around $900. The payout salary is from $70,000 to $115,000 just from having that one certification. Okay. In some cases, I advise taking the training for this, especially if you have no computer experience at all. And so, going into these certifications, you don't have to have any computer experience at all, no education about it at all. You just have to study what the certification is about. If you pass the test, you got it. All right. A lot of these things you can kind of learn on the fly on the job itself. But the Cisco one, I advise going to a training center because you have to deal with specific types of hardware that you would not have access to. Now let's get to college degrees. If you pick the right field, you can and will be in demand and part of a special club that demands a certain pay grade. If learned beyond a bachelor's and acquire a master's or better yet a doctorate in the right field, you can excel to certain positions that a college degree may be required. Like, for example, deans of schools, which some of those deans of schools pay $250,000 to $400,000. Okay, presidents of schools. Okay, on the board of schools, unless you are extraordinary, unless you have done things in the world that are known that they will want to have you near them. Okay, and to demand a salary of $900,000 or more a year. Okay, you're gonna have to have a doctorate degree, or at least a master's, a few masters. All right. Now, you're studying, now for the college degree, in general, you're studying to be someone's employee, period. Your pay will be capped. You will spend anywhere from 4 years for a bachelor's to 11 years for a doctorate at minimum to reach the status of pay grade that your lifestyle or perceived lifestyle dictates. If you pick the wrong degree and spend countless time trying to obtain it, you'll be SOL, when literally no one will hire you with it. Don't believe me, after tens of thousands of people who are unemployed with college degrees as we speak. Now let's do a cost expense analysis of college degrees. 4 years at a decent rated school for your bachelor's is going to cost you in debt $30,000 to $60,000 before graduation, before you make the first dollar. 2 to 4 years to obtain your master's at a decent rated school will be another $10,000 to $30,000 before graduation. Now, to get your doctorate, you're going to be in school for another 2 to 4 years. At a decent rated school, you're going to pay anywhere from, again, another $15,000 to $30,000 before graduation. Okay, so you're well over approximately $150,000 or so. Okay, before you make the first penny. Now, concerning college degrees, they have their place. In general, you'll be over $100,000 to $150,000 in debt before you make the first penny. The moment you make a penny, that penny will be split amongst all the people you now owe. Most people now carry this debt to their death, and in now many cases, the debt is carried over to your next of kin. They'll tell you that. For those of you listening to will, etc. sometimes, that debt that you owe, if you're getting hundreds of $1,000s, now goes to your children. Or they will take your house that you left to your children to take care of this debt. Now, the types of certifications. The main providers of certifications over here are CompTIA, Microsoft, Cisco, Sun, Nortel, and SANS. The type of certification you get are computer repair, network administration, system administration, database engineer, computer programming, network security, WAN, VPN, LAN, and the list goes on and on. There are so many different areas you could go into concerning certifications and things. We could be here all day discussing all of them, but I'm just trying to give you a little bit more than just the basics, so you can't leave here with enough knowledge to be able to do something for these. Now, easiest way to get paid right now certifications are by having your A+ Network Plus. Okay? And just for those who go back to the A+ Network Plus. For the A+ Network Plus combined with the books, it's about $90. The test for both of these is $40, and your salary will be around $37,000 to $45,000. Okay, and that's with the A+ Network Plus certification. These are the easiest ones to get. Do they have training courses? Official training courses on these two? If you take the test after, yes. It would probably cost you for these two around $1,500 to get the training course that covers these two. But then after you take the certification test, then you get certified, and it's still ball rolling. All right, you can pick up any A+ book at your local bookstore. Make sure it's a current one and it's geared toward the certification test. It's great to study with someone else who is also working toward the same certification. certifications that will bring you big bucks, period. Pretty much any Cisco certification will net you over $100,000 yearly. I advise taking a training course for this one. Some of the higher Cisco certifications require that you have other lesser certifications before they will net you over, but they will net you over $180,000. What I mean by that is that some certifications, to even sit down and take the test, they require you to have previous certifications or other certifications. There are some certifications that require you to have A+ or Network Plus before you can proceed further. All right. Some of the higher Cisco certifications, of course, you have other Cisco certifications before you take them, net you start you off around $500,000 a year. And your total cost to get to that far may be about $6-7 grand. Okay, but you are netted $500,000 a year, and you may be flying all over the world because not a lot of people have that high degree of certification. All right, Microsoft certifications would be another one that can easily net you over $70,000 a year, especially if you're a Microsoft certified systems engineer. With the MCSE, you can walk in the door demanding $80 to $100K minimum. This is another one that requires previous certifications. Well worth it because Microsoft still owns most of the software sector. The work environments. We feel it's important to provide our employees with an extremely comfortable workplace environment, primarily because we don't allow them to ever go home. All right. There are types of work for IT professionals. That's information technology professionals. Employee, consult. Just so you know, too, if I'm going too fast, just let me know. I will slow down. Sometimes it's blazing by. All right. As an employee, consultant, store, retail, each one of the above has its pluses and minuses. I would suggest, even if you are an employee now, work toward being a consultant or a contractual employee. You'll make your own hours for the most part, and you'll be paid much more. Pay for various work environments. As an employee, you may be making $140,000 a year, but that's all you will make no matter how much you really work. As a consultant, you can make $1 a year or $500 trillion a year. It will be truly up to your go-get attitude. Would be made easier if you had some of the higher certifications that were discussed previously, then your clients will be mostly trying to find you. Like, for example, if you were to get the higher Cisco certifications, some of the Microsoft certifications, etc., they put you in a national list, and people will call you. Your phone will be ringing all the time from people who want to pretty much give you work. All right. Computer stores make, on average, now just so you know, a lot of the local computer stores in your area, all right, you would think there would be, let's say these are certifications I have, A+, Network Plus, and many other things. Most of them you don't. Most computer stores have, the people in there doing your computer work have no certifications, no degrees, anything at all. It's not a bad thing, they may be excellent, but I'm just going to let you know. You go to the computer store, that's how easy the computer field is, okay? The average computer store makes between $250,000 to $3 million per year. I'm going to show you proof of that. All right? Okay, where to take certifications. There are many certification centers around Chicago where you can walk in, pay fee required, and sit down and take the test. That's the South Suburban College that you have in your sheets. If you pass your certification, it'll be arriving in the mail in a few weeks. The test center I've personally been to many times. Obviously, as I mentioned, the South Suburban College Business and Career Institute. Anywhere in South Holland, not in Old Forest. Now we're going to get into, I'm going to show you proof also of computer repair stores. We're talking about small stores that sometimes going to be as big as this room, okay, and how much they make in a year. That's from Manta.com. Manta.com shows public information about companies and so forth. Now, the computer experts, I believe they were in, I believe this was up north or northwest, all right? They have 10 to 19 employees. They only have one location. They've been in business for 24 years, and they make between $5 and $10 million a year. All right, and these are here, of course, of the brands that they fix and sell. All right, this one here, Reliatech, it's on the south side. They have 2 to 4 employees. They make from $500,000 to $1 million a year. Okay. Boom Technologies, he actually closed the doors when he wanted to get out of the technological business. But this guy was in Logan. Logan is about 5 minutes from here, 10 minutes from here. Okay, it's down the street. Okay, he's pretty much the only guy there. He says 5 to 9 employees, but really it was about 2. Okay, he was making between $500,000 and $1 million a year. in a little small location, about half the size of this room. And because I knew him personally, he has no certifications, no degrees, no anything at all. He can fix computers. He's excellent at his computers, but he doesn't have any of that. He was bringing in closer to $1 million a year. Okay, so short recap of phase one was examining the operating system, taking apart computers to bare bones. What to expect in phase two? What to expect in phase two, which usually we do phase two a week or 2 or 3 after this phase one. Typically, I charge $50 for phase two because I actually had to bring computers in. It's a little bit different game in certain ways. If you come in here, it'll still be about 3 hours long, and you're actually physically removing viruses, you're physically taking apart computers, etc. All right. Typically, we do a short recap of phase one. We examine operating systems. We take apart computers to the bottom. We put the computers back together. I show you how to remove computer viruses in theory and actual. We install operating systems. We get a little bit into computer programming, modding the computer, which pretty much was like taking an old VCR and turning it into a computer, and much more. That's for those who really want to get hands-on or hobby or otherwise. All right.
Not tomorrow.
What do you mean?
How about we start tomorrow?
Oh, okay. Yeah. When we leave from here, I need to know how many people may want to do it, because usually people that don't attend phase one do not attend phase two. So if people here do want to come to that, then I have to start reserving for that. But now, I'm going to show you a bonus. Many people here, Hispanic, Black, and everything else, this information is great. They agree with it 100%. They see exactly how they can do it. They say, man, I appreciate it, but the problem is they have a background problem. Okay, that's the problem. All right, and I'm going to show you something here. Now, what I'm going to say here is not should be construed as legal advice. All right, so if you want legal advice, I strongly suggest you seek out a competent attorney. Only speaking what I know works in the technological system. Remember, the technological system is a system. It's based on things that man has created, and it's not that man has created flaws. It's that the system has purposely put in flaws for those who work for the system to be able to maneuver through them if need be. Okay, they call loopholes. Okay, whether it be taxes. They did tell you we're going to tax the rich, but they specifically put in a loophole so the rich can just go around it. Okay, they purposely do that. All right. Okay, background check problems. Okay. If you have a background problem, okay, and you do not utilize what I'm about to tell you, only type of jobs you need to get is construction, because they do no background checks. Dishwashers, cooks, maids, work at a car wash, and pretty much very basic, low-level jobs that will not net you the type of income that you would truly want. All right? Now, now we get into questions and answers. If you have any.
When we got phase two.
This is phase one. Phase two, it all depends on how many people want to go through it. You know what I'm saying? Usually I do it a week and 2 weeks later.
We're in the same place.
Yeah, it'll be here. We were here before. We've been here a couple times. It'll be here somewhere.
Can I make a comment? I was an information technology recruiter for about 20 years, and I can validate and verify everything that you just put up there. And I really appreciate you taking the time to do this, because you painted a picture that is unlike anyone else. A recruiter couldn't do exactly what you did.
Amen. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate it. No doubt, no doubt. I appreciate that comment. And I have heard that a lot. The whole point is I'm trying to give you the most simplest way to get into it. Not only that, the reason why I showed the videos in this presentation was to show you that I'm not just talking, from nowhere. Like those who just came in or came in late, I showed some videos, whatever, that's actually from the History Channel, that's showing actual evidence of what people 30, 40, 60, 100,000, like 100,000 years ago were doing here, and it would look just like you and me. They had spacesuits on, flying to the moon, etc. Okay, and they can do it then. Why can't you do it now? Okay, it's a lot simpler than what it's saying. Sure.
Are you the instructor of the 6 weeks class for the incorporated information? Incorporated that you gave us have to be incorporated.
No,
$179. Are you the instructor for that?
instructor, no. What you need to do, if you have a question, because I've been incorporated for a long time, okay, so if you have a question, I could tell you what to do, but only you do is go to the Secretary of State website, print out the form, literally print it, type it in, whatever, send it in with your money work. And then within 6 weeks, it's not a 6-week class, but in 6 weeks, you'll get your, as long as your name is not already taken, you will get that, your license. What was financial license? But your incorporation papers, which is different than a business license. You can be incorporated in your house, but if you have opened up a storefront, you would also need a business license. Okay. And that's pretty much that. Now, what you can do is go to the Secretary of State website, and there's a search there. You can search for whatever name you want to come up with. Okay. Just so you know, it's not already taken. All right. You want to send it in 6 weeks later, send it back, send it's already taken. But what I was
So the 6 weeks is a class is online?
No, 6 weeks is how long it takes to get your incorporation papers back. There's no class for that at all.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, you said 6 weeks of class, okay.
Yes, people look back sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, if I need to clarify certain things, I will clarify.
I know you went over it earlier about the type of information that's going to be disseminated in the second phase.
Yes.
But could you repeat that just briefly?
Sure. In general, it's really about what you want to do. That's really what it's about. I like to go over a recap of phase 1. I like to kind of follow a protocol of using certain things here. We want to install Windows, install Linux. I'll show you how to remove viruses. I have a bunch of broken laptops here that we have taken apart all the way to bare bones so you can take apart your stuff. You're doing this, okay? We put all that stuff back together. Take about your desktop. It's quite a few things we do, okay? But let's say everyone in class only wants to focus on removing the virus. Remove a virus. That's what we focus on, okay? The course is fast-paced, like phase 1 was fast-paced, all right? So many people who have came to phase 1 phases before are here right now too. Okay, because it's pretty much like continuing education for free. Even if I charge you for this event here, all future phase 1 and phase 2s are free. As long as I can verify that you came before by seeing your face or just knowing your name, you get it for free because I'm charging $1,000 for it. Okay, that's it.
And I noticed that a lot of people in this room are overdosed. But let's say a person had those A plus and Network Plus certifications, and you're like me in mid-50s. Would that matter once you get out and once you get your certification, you get out in the world? Would that matter on getting a gig?
In the technological field, not as much. Because a lot of the guys that you see, in general, I'm more considered a rare case.
Say that again?
In general, I'm more considered a rare case for what I've done younger, okay? But most people that I work on a daily basis are 50, 60 years old or so, okay? A lot of the computer programmers or software engineers are younger now, okay? They're in usually a 20, 25 range, okay? There are people who open a store, like we go to most of these stores, most people you see behind the counter are 40, 50, 60 years old. Okay, a lot of times, all right? So it just all depends where you want to go with it. Let's say, for example, if everyone write down my business number, I'll give you my business number. If you have any questions, you're welcome to give me a call. Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 2. Okay? My business number is 800-961-8068. Now, it all depends on what's created. 800-961-8068.
What's the weekend hours again?
9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, the thing about it is that it all depends on what you specifically want to do. No one here at this time could do computer programming. It's not because you can't do it mentally. It's because it takes a lot of time to learn computer programming. Okay, and it takes to do it proficiently. Let's say, for example, you want to make really the big money in computer programming. Well, it may take you 5, 6, 7 years to actually get fluent in that language. Because literally, you're learning a new language. Literally. Okay, so that one would be cost effective right now. All right. The better things are things that can get you to the career, like the A plus, Network Plus, the Cisco stuff, the Microsoft stuff. You can learn that from a book as long as you study well and literally if you a month, 2 or 3 weeks test, you get straight into the field. Okay, you could make the money. All right, that's what I suggest.
May I say this too? You could go on monster.com, take a look at all the jobs that are really looking for those particular certifications and verify what you're saying.
Yeah, that's actually a fantastic thing you should do. You go to the job sites and click on the information technology air panel or whatever, the link, and see what they're asking for. They may be asking, like, for example, database engineers make a lot of money. Okay, they start usually around $90,000 a year. Okay, and there are database engineer base certifications. We didn't get to that at all though, because there's so many certifications out there. Usually I see database engineer a lot. I see computer programmers a lot. I see higher level network administration things. Okay, because now Network Plus is network administration, but it's a general. You get into the ins and outs, but there are more advanced ones like Unix, Sun systems, and systems that like the computer. Let's see, I'll show you. Where is that? Like to work on systems like these. Okay, these are, like I said, supercomputers, etc. You can easily do it, but the certifications for these are totally out the box. But you'll be making big money working on those. So, you know.
So I'm pretty sure you went through a player hater stage when you never get your lab, didn't you?
Most people don't know about it.
Being as smart and as intelligent as you were versus those people think about us.
Well,
I'm pretty sure you went through a player hater moment, honey.
I think more or less what it is more, it's more self-hatred than other people.
Oh,
Okay,
so it's just that the corporate individual player.
Right, because you know, we've been bombarded so much that we can't do some things now. Of course, I've been doing these things in my life, and I know, obviously I've been doing it. You know, so I've been doing it since a young age, even when I was in high school. But still, the images that we see on TV and so like that is still mess with your mind regardless. Okay, but people who do know, it's not that they hate it; they don't believe. They don't believe anything. Like even this event here for free. People calling me up like crazy, and I got tons of calls. And if you would think all the calls that I got this room, there be people lined up in the hallway right now. But they calling me to tell me I don't believe you. You know, not that I don't believe you know what you know, but I don't believe you're offering for free. It has to be some type of catch to it. There's no catch.
I was one of those calls.
Okay.
I didn't believe it. I was like, wait a minute. I need to be renting a room at the DoubleTree and then doing this for free. I was like, well, and then so last night I was thinking, okay, go over there and see what he said. Yeah, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe you could be doing it for free.
Make a lie out of it.
No doubt. So the thing about it is that I'm doing stuff like this for free for a while. Like for example, nothing I offer a class on. Now, if I do charge, it's very, very little. Okay, like my last phase one was $50. Okay, you know, it's very little. It doesn't cost much at all, and that is helps me cover the cost of the room or the equipment I bring in, etc. Sometimes I actually rent equipment to, you know, be able to show you certain things and stuff. Okay, like one other class I offer is an herbology class. Okay, and I actually bring in all the herbs that I have in my collection, which is hundreds and hundreds of herbs, some of the herbs you never heard of, and I have tables all lined up, and on the big screen, I show you how to do real herbal research, okay, for yourself, which is very simple too, just like this is simple, okay? And so let's say you have an issue with diabetes. We go by each person. We go online, I show you the research for diabetes, I have my little pill machines, you actually take the herbs yourself, you mix them together, crush them all up, everything else, you put them to fuse yourself, and now you created your remedy yourself, okay? I actually, and that's for almost any element you have. I literally show you, hands on God with all the herbs in front of you. You know what I'm saying? And so typically I charge around $50 for that class. And most people who call me to that class are not from here. You know, so I usually go elsewhere. And most people in the audience are not, no one are at all.
I'm interested.
Okay, all right.
Are you gonna have that class again soon, here?
Which one?
Neurology class?
Oh yeah, usually I have everything. Yeah, and what happens is that if you do not do it, please put your name, email address, and phone number on this list. Okay, now I'll give you a call if you're interested in, that's how I know if I should do it or not, pretty much.
You should do it.
You say it's a
Oh, yes, it's an herb class. Yeah, I bring in my tables and stuff. I bring up, you see tons of prayer. The whole room be smelling, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you see pill machines all over the place. I mean, you literally get into, you're doing it. I'm just showing you from what I know I'm doing for years. Like, for those who came in late, just so you can see for yourself, that's me in my laboratory right there. And this is in my house, okay? All thing you see, I pay for myself, okay? But no one, if I said, even though they do have a certain IQ or whatever it may be, all right? I said, let's do this, whatever. They don't believe. And so I had to do it to show you that I'm gonna do it. And then now you can do it. Okay, so, so that's the way I have to work.
May I say one last thing? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Even with regards to the information technology, you mentioned something earlier, and I had happened to remember back in the 80s and in the 90s, I am kind of old, that regards to information technology, there was an influx of Chinese people they purposely let in so that they could take a mound of jobs. And then they did it for the Indian people. They expanded the H-1 visas so that they could fit them in to take all of these jobs. So unfortunately, we won't really get into corporate America. But your suggestion of having your own business is the best.
That's right.
Now, I'll tell you the reason why. There's a reason why what she just said is going on. There's a specific reason why. And that reason why is what I showed you here with the space people who are exactly our color, who 20,000 years ago had a little purple space they fly to Mars with. Okay, that's the reason why they want you. Okay, because if you get in and you start doing stuff like that, it's going to be a problem. Okay, you would change it. And that's factual act. That's why in most of these places where I'm at, there's literally no one who looks like us at all. They're all Indians, Chinese, and some white people. China has been doing stuff, even Japan specifically, doing more advanced than we do here, literally 30, 40 years ago, 30, 40 years before you even came to America. Okay? So.
Is that true that the Chinese have the fastest supercomputer in the world?
In general, yeah. Most of all of our technology comes from them.
Under the Clinton administration, we sold them the supercomputer.
Okay.
Yeah, under the Clinton administration, they purchased it.
Could you repeat that, please?
Under the Clinton administration, he sold them the supercomputer because we got something better.
The only thing I wish intends to not happen for some reason. I appreciate everyone who came to this audience, but where's the 16-year-olds and the 17-year-olds? Because the thing about it is that if they were to listen to this information, okay, not only would it inspire them on stuff, but getting past the emotions, okay? If they were to actually do what I'm suggesting that they do, and let's say especially if they have a junior high school, when they literally graduate in their senior year, they could be making literally out the door $100,000 a year. I mean, you'd be surprised if you would think that corporate America does not necessarily hire us, but those who see, you have to prove yourself. Those who really put in the work and obviously is on the top of the game, they set you up real quick. Because the fact is, you are the one who advanced them. Okay, so they need you. And the fact is, no matter, most of us are going to basketball, going to rap, going to music and arts. Like, we don't want the arts, but still, most of us are going that direction because there's a few people who may actually do what they're supposed to do necessarily and get into the technological field and other fields like that. Still, it's not that many anyway, so it doesn't matter.
And they're ready for it. They can pick it up real quick.
Real quick, no doubt about it. Yeah. And as you know, DVDs of this will be available. It'll be some clips from here, but there's actually a direct presentation I do. So only you see on the screen is the slides, and my voice in the background, and then we cut into some clips here and stuff like that. That'll be available as of Monday. And in the sheets there, the second sheet is the website you'll go to. The DVD will be $20 for $19.95 plus shipping. All right, and I'll have a whole lot of them made, and so If you did want it, you could order it then. Well, I'd like if you order before Monday, so I know how many people actually want it, but I'll ship it out on Monday.
Thank you, appreciate it.
It'll be on that website as of Monday, November 27th. So, right, so if you pay for it there at phase 2, I will have some here, you know, so. No, it does. Physically will.
Okay.
It's a physical DVD.
Okay, because you know what I was getting ready to ask you. Psychologically, why did you make this information so small?
Was it because you wanted me to interpret the look of myself? Was it because you wanted me to buy DVD? Was it because, you know, I see you got bigger here. You got the situation going on where I can understand quite well the money and all this and this. See what I'm saying? You got that pretty well for me to understand. Now, when it gets to the real deal, this is so little you talk about people with diabetes. They can't see.
No. Well, this is the website I printed from. That's how they
Okay, I
got it.
was just wondering, because I see you got it bigger here for everything else. I'm just curious.
Yeah.